The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Erika Kristensen, sitting in for Rain Musni. Catch up with us on Newsfeed Business. Donald Trump is again using tariffication as a weapon to get people in line. This time, BRICS nations are on the receiving end. As BRICS, or the Economic Alliance of Big Economy Nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are looking to create their own currency similar to the euro, effectively moving away from the US dollar. At the Republican Governors Association meeting on Thursday, U.S. President reaffirmed his position on protecting the dollar's dominance in global trade.
They wanted to use the yuan, and Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. It took once, literally. They said, sir, what about the BRIC states? They're going to take over the dollar, the sanctity of the dollar. They're going to create a new currency to rule the world. I said, no, they're not. They said, yes, they are, sir. They said it. I said, no, they're not. Tell them 150% tariff, plus we're not going to do business with them, and that includes China.
Aside from imposing steep tariffs over the potential threat on the U.S. dollar, Trump also underscored the important regulatory rollbacks to drive economic growth and strengthen U.S. competitiveness.
We've launched the largest deregulation campaign in our country's history. For every one new regulation, I've directed that 10 old regulations must be eliminated. And I will say, in my first term, we did more deregulation than any president in history by far, not even close.
Tech mogul Elon Musk is a key player in the U.S. president's deregulation moves in his role with the non-cabinet Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge. Musk defended his downsizing methods before a generally supportive Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, in Maryland. Doge has already affected bank regulators, forest workers, rocket scientists, and tens of thousands of other government employees. The Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, is the latest agency to face cuts. A source told Reuters that 6,700 IRS employees, about 6% of its workforce, are expected to be laid off during tax season.
Waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in D.C.? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and this target, the wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like you're gonna close your eyes and go shoot in any direction, because you can't miss, you know. So it's pretty wild.
Gold prices hit a fresh all-time high of $2,956.69 per ounce on Thursday. It marks the 10th record-breaking surge this year as investors scramble for safe haven assets. The rally comes amid rising concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's latest tariff threats, which have rattled global markets and fueled fears of a new trade war. Wall Street tumbled, with a Dow dropping 1.01%, while European and global equities also saw declines. Meanwhile, the yen gained strength, reflecting investor anxiety. Analysts point to ongoing uncertainty over U.S. economic policies, geopolitical tensions, and Federal Reserve inflation worries as key drivers behind gold's 12% year-to-date gain. With market volatility showing no signs of easing, could gold be on track to breach the $3,000 milestone? As tensions between Beijing and Washington escalate, Apple is increasingly turning to India as a manufacturing partner for its flagship iPhone. This reflects a broader shift in its strategy to reduce dependence on China. According to Financial Times' Michael Acton and John Reed, Apple has accelerated its diversification process, which began during the pandemic. India has emerged as a key ally in this transition, with major players like Tata Electronics making significant moves to support Apple's manufacturing efforts. Apple plans to have 25% of iPhones produced in India by 2027, but significant challenges remain. India's manufacturing operation still largely depends on flown-in components. Brewing disputes between China and India have delayed key equipment and visa approvals for essential Chinese workers. Budget cuts are riling up students in Indonesia in the biggest demonstration of discontent on Thursday, February 20. The students came by the thousands wearing black shirts and university jackets in major cities like Yogyakarta, Makassar, and Jakarta. In a movement dubbed as Dark Indonesia, demonstrators voiced opposition to budget cuts and other policies introduced by President Prabowo Subianto. They claim that the changes could weaken social support systems and jeopardize their future. Widespread ministerial budget reductions have raised concerns about disruptions to public services. Now, these protests, the largest since last August, came 4 months after Prabowo's landslide election victory. Transportation Secretary Vivencio Dizon has ordered a halt to the full implementation of cashless transactions on the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX, and South Luzon Expressway, or SLEX. Dizon, who criticized the policy as anti-poor, revealed that a trial run led to heavy traffic congestion, particularly in the Balintawak area. The Toll Regulatory Board announced on Valentine's Day that starting this March, all vehicles using the expressways must have an electronic toll collection device or a radio frequency identification sticker. Violators will face fines ranging from 500 pesos to 5,000 pesos, depending on the offense. This includes insufficient balance, lack of an ETC device, or repeated violations. Aleph Aeronautics, a California-based company, has taken a significant step toward turning the long-imagined concept of flying cars into reality. The company recently released a groundbreaking video of their ultralight Aleph Model 0. The sedan-looking flying machine performed a vertical takeoff and flying over a parked truck after a short drive. Jim Duchovny, CEO of Aleph Aeronautics, expressed hope that the video would have a lasting impact on the future of transportation, similar to the effect of the Wright brothers' first flight. Duchovny believes that this milestone could help create a new market and economy, although the exact timeline for flying cars remains uncertain.
It's prohibitively expensive because it's expensive for us to produce one, but it's because it's a very low volume production and it's very inefficient. So it's not optimized for manufacturing. It's going to be a very, very gradual process. It's good for many, many reasons to have gradual process, to get it to consumers so people slowly get used to it, see how safe it is, see how quiet it is, see the benefits of it, not only for themselves, but, for example, for search and rescue vehicles.
Business and economy news from around the country in a moment. Newsfeed Business will be back. Stay with us on BNC. We're back on Newsfeed Business. The recent raids headed by the Bureau of Customs netted quite a number of high-end vehicles. We have Sujin Kim on the line for more details.
Yes, Erika, the Bureau of Customs seized 900 million pesos worth of allegedly smuggled luxury cars during a raid at an auto shop in Barangay Ususan, Taguig City. More than 40 high-end vehicles were discovered, including some of the most expensive models on the market. Some of these vehicles, including McLaren and Rolls-Royce models, are worth between 40 to 70 million pesos each. According to Customs Intel, these vehicles were previously owned by Pogo bosses who abruptly left the country in December. Reports indicate that vehicle owners paid a 3,000 peso monthly storage fee to keep their cars hidden in the facility. BOC has given vehicle owners, renters, and warehouse operators 15 days to present documents proving that the import taxes and duties were legally paid. Failure to comply will result in charges under the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act, or RA 10863. If no legal documents are submitted, the vehicles will be forfeited in favor of the government and sold through a public auction. Auto shop Autovolt denied claims that their facility was used to hide smuggled cars linked to Pogo operators. They insist that they only provide detailing and repair services and have no involvement in any illegal activity. BOT clarified that the auto shop could avoid legal consequences if it provides documents proving that the vehicles were only repaired, detailed, or temporarily stored. Those are the latest updates for now. Back to you, Erika.
Very informative. Thank you so much for that, Soojin Kim. The Department of Energy, or DOE, admits some of its projects funded by the U.S. are affected by President Donald Trump's order to freeze foreign aid. This comes after Secretary of State Marco Rubio orders a pause on all new obligations of funding for U.S. foreign assistance programs funded by or through the department and U.S. aid. But Maylene Capongcol, Energy Assistant Secretary of DOE Renewable Energy Management Bureau, tells Bilyonaryo news channels Follow the Money the agency is trying to look for a backup funding sources on the affected projects.
So we have what we call the Renewable Energy Trust Fund under the RE law that may be tapped to finish or to undertake those projects that was supposedly suspended by the USAID, particularly on the energy sector.
Capongcol is meanwhile optimistic that the Philippines will be able to reach its goal of using 35% of renewable energy by 2030 and 50% by 2040 and 2050.
A lot of stakeholders are geared towards meeting that target, particularly the Department of Energy. And if you have noticed, there have been a lot of renewable energy programs and policies that have been initiated and promulgated by the Department of Energy to encourage more investment, to ease the burden of investing in renewable energy development in the country.
Philippine shares closed the final trading day of the week in a positive territory as it nears to 6,100 level. That's driven by investors' optimism on fourth quarter and 2024 corporate earnings result and the recent peso strengthening. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index ended higher by 0.5% to close at 60 to 98, finishing the day as the seventh best performer in Asia. Among the sectoral indices, only the financial sector ended in the red, with property rising the most at more than 1%. Advancers also outpaced decliners 102 to 91. Total value turnover stood at 4.7 billion pesos. Week on week, the PSE rose by 0.6% from last Friday's close of 60 to 61. More than half of the day's most active stocks ended in the green, with the Universal Robina rising the most at more than 5%. Meanwhile, at the foreign exchange market, the peso is currently trading at 57.90 against the greenback, strengthening from previous close of 57 to 94 despite U.S. tariff plans. And that's a wrap for today's Newsfeed Business. Thanks for making us your daily source of financial insights. For Rain Musngi, I'm Erika Kristensen. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Follow the Money is next at 4:30.